ladies and
Yeah, no.
gentlemen, today on the Insight we've got Frankie Musonda. Yo, Frankie, what you saying? How you been keeping up with quarantine and whatnot?
Yeah, good man. Obviously, good to be on here and speak to you. To be honest, when lockdown happened and stuff like that, I just sort of been training on my own. Just we were allowed to take some equipment back from the training ground, so I had some gym equipment, a spin bike, and things like that. So, especially having the spin bike helped because when you're not at football, when you're trying to do a little bit of work to keep ticking over, but you want to stay off your feet, sort of thing.
Yeah. I
Like
feel that.
that sort of helped me. That helped me a lot, to be fair. They sent us some runs and stuff, but also told us to take the rest at the same time because you might not get much for the summer either when we're back.
Oh yeah, true. Well, how were you staying motivated though? Because obviously there was a lot of uncertainty in terms of whether the season was going to come back or whatnot.
It was tricky, to be fair, because I knew I was in coming towards the end of my contract at the end of the season. I sort of my motivation was either to come back as fit as I can, ready to either try and just impress and get a new contract at Luton, or just make sure I'm ready for the next opportunity if that's at another club.
No, that's smart. Yeah, for sure. So let's wind it back. How did you get into football, man? What age? Where were you, and all that stuff?
Um, so I was always sort of into football, but I didn't at the start. I played rugby first before I played football.
So yeah,
Like,
how long for though?
no, I was young. I was 6 or 7. But it's I think my mum just got me in that just because she didn't really care about sports in it. But there was a couple people at my school that did that. So when she got speaking to parents,
Oh yeah,
obviously
sure.
some of my friends at school were doing it at the time when I was in primary school. So she was like, "Oh, go do that." So I was doing that. I did that for one school year, and then I went to the park. I used to go to the park quite young. My mum and dad would let me go to the park at quite a young age. So I went to the park at about 7 on my own,
Right.
and I was just but it was not far from my house. But
Okay.
there was I'd have to check in every half an hour. So obviously now it's you'd never. Why would I go out to come back half an hour? But obviously I was so young, but that's what I had to do. So I was playing on my own. I was just literally playing football on my own at the park. And I looked over and there was a local team training, but they were way older than me.
Yeah.
And they were called US Valerio. And then I went back when I had to check in, and I said to my dad, there's a team training, can you see if you can get me into a football thing? So then my dad came back up with me, spoke to the coach. But my dad was to them, but these kids were about 12, 13, and I was only 7. But my dad said to him, "Oh, can he join in?" And they were looked at me and were "No, he's too young," sort of thing.
Yeah.
But they was "We got a trial coming up for all ages in a couple of weeks, so bring him in." So then my dad brought me to the trial, but they put me in. So basically, everyone at the trial, so this team was called US Valerio, and the kids who were the year above me at school, they a lot of the kids from my school played for this club in the year above. So when I turned up, no one from my school my age was there. So I turned up and just went with the kids I knew in the year above me.
Yeah.
But then I ended up just joining their training for the trial and got signed for the year above, not my own age group.
Right.
So then played with that team. That's how I got in. Afterwards, they realised I was the wrong age, but they'd already got me in. So we can handle it. So just play with them, innit? So then that season, I played with them. We won every game, didn't draw. Won all the cups, the league, and then in the cup final, I got scouted for Luton, and then that's when I started for Luton at 8.
Damn. What position were you playing from the beginning?
So I was playing midfield then, and then up for this team, US Valeria, and then once I went to Luton, I was playing striker straight away.
Right.
So then, because then I was a striker at Luton all up to the age of 16.
What?
Well, you didn't know that?
I remembered you were a striker at the beginning, but I didn't know it was all the way until 16.
Yeah, I was a striker up until 16, and then like I pretty much had my scholarship as a striker because I was playing up at
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
point.
I remember. Yeah, yeah.
So then, so but then I got a bad knee injury. Well, not a bad knee injury, but I got a knee injury, and I was out for about 3 months.
Yeah.
Came back, and like I sort of lost my sort of the pace I had at the time. I wasn't ever that quick anyway, but. But I was playing. Obviously, I was playing with the youth team. Like not like as a starter, but now and then
Yeah,
I was
yeah, yeah.
starting at the youth team as a striker. And then got this injury. When I came back, they brought someone else in, another striker, who was doing quite well. But I was the captain of the team. So Joe Deeney at the time was like to me, obviously, like with your leadership skills and stuff like that, why don't you just try
So,
playing centre half? Because I'm quite vocal and things like that. So obviously I was a bit like obviously I'm a striker, bro. Like,
and you just score
but
goals.
then I was like, so I was a bit like, I didn't mind. Like, I understood what he was saying, but it felt like I was being a bit like shifted to the side kind of thing. But I was like, cool, did quite well, and then got my scholarship as a centre back, and then obviously the following season went to the youth team as a centre back. That was my first season. It was on my scholarship. That's when I was a centre back and stayed
Damn,
there ever since.
that's mad. How did rewind it back to all the years like you were playing from like 8 and stuff? How were you balancing like school and playing? Because you've been in academy from young, so like
Yeah.
always been like a certain level. So how were you balancing like school and like playing?
Um, sort of, I think in the early stage, it wasn't too bad, but it was just a bit different because obviously everyone I went to school with, if they played football, they played for a local team, innit?
Yeah,
So like my mum worked in Luton and I lived in Bedford, which is
yeah,
about 45 minutes, an hour with traffic and stuff at
yeah,
school times. So my mum would work there till whatever time, come drive back to Bedford to pick me up, and then drive back to Luton to take me to training. And it was all so rushed. So like from a young age, I was doing a lot of things myself, like at home. So I'd go back from school. I'd have to do whatever homework, whatever I had to do, get myself some food, make something at home, and then go to training. All like sort of all doing this like from about the age of 9,
damn,
and
that's
then
mad.
and also I had a little sister as well, so I'd be taking her to school and coming back because my mum had to leave so early for work. I was taking my sister to school from about the age of about 8 years old,
What's
but
the
I
age
wasn't.
gap?
My sister is 2 years younger than me, so
Okay.
she was about 6 and I was 8. But obviously, we weren't really. I don't think the school would have probably liked that at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like we couldn't tell them that sort of stuff. But so I was sort of juggling that as well. So I'd also sort of have to make sure my sister was okay at home and stuff like that after school because I'd have to pick her up and stuff. But because it all sort of became quite normal early on, so juggling both, I sort of had to do it. You just sort of had to get on with it kind of thing. But I'd say it sort of got harder when you got closer to like, when it was getting to like 14, 15 and it's
Yeah,
like, now you're doing GCSEs and stuff like that. Because now my grades were always like not too bad.
yeah.
Not great, but not bad. I wasn't failing. But then it's like now these grades start to matter. So
Yeah.
then it was around that age, and especially with the pressures of knowing you've got to like try and get a scholarship, like that's when it sort of got, because my age group wasn't like, by that time my team sort of under 15, 16, it was okay, but it wasn't as good as some of the old ones like your age group or the year above me.
Yeah.
Like those age groups had good players, like they were good teams, but my age group wasn't. By then, earlier it was good, but by then the players left. We didn't really have a great age group, so like the scholarships were being given out quite late for most people. So
Okay.
like we were well into GCSEs by the time people were getting scholarships.
Damn. Did you? Well, hold on. When you got yours at 16, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I got mine. I knew mine. I got mine early,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but like everyone else got theirs. Me and a couple others got it early, but the others had to wait so long to find out,
Yeah,
and it
that's
was quite
annoying.
late. And like obviously they were juggling training 3 days a week, having a day off school for one,
Yeah, day
obviously for one
release, isn't it? Yeah.
day release. So like things like that. So like for day release for me, my school were quite good with me.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't really get set much work to catch up on, but
Right.
they didn't. Yeah, they didn't give me work that I had to catch up on. Because obviously, when you're coming day release, you're still doing work in the afternoon. Like, so, because they obviously give you the BTEC thing or whatever
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is. But my school didn't really, like, my school didn't set me any extra work to do. But obviously, my mum being a teacher, she just sort of, she didn't give me no work, but she made sure when it come to doing my GCSEs that
You're screwed
I
on,
didn't
yeah.
fail. Yeah, like I didn't fail kind of thing,
That's
which I
mad
did.
though. That's good though, more in terms of that. But like I'm saying, in terms of your scholarships now, my age group got theirs
Early,
bare
early.
early, fam.
Like it might have been like a year or two you knew.
Fam, I had mine at 14.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. That's why it was like it was so like unheard of that our age group was getting these offered late. Like there was players younger than us that would have had scholarship probably before most of these man that got offered them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like it was all a bit strange, and I don't think it was that fair really
No, for sure.
on the players, especially when like especially because I got mine probably around Christmas, like of that season, under
Yeah.
16, which is still like kind of late
Kind
compared
of
to the
late,
years.
and yeah.
So, I sort of went into my GCSEs knowing I knew I was playing football next year for Luton, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But others had to wait quite late, and it was like I could see the pressures they were under. Obviously,
Yeah.
I was lucky enough not to really be under that sort of pressure, but it wasn't. It was tough. It was definitely tougher for others than it was for me, I think.
No, for sure. How did you enjoy your time at Luton coming up like through the ranks and stuff? What were your best like memories
Um, yeah,
before
it was good.
scholarship?
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, it was good. Like, obviously, like especially when you're a kid and that, the tournaments you play abroad and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah.
Like, there's some like I went to places that I never ever would have even thought about going to. Do you know
What
what I
places
mean?
did you
Like,
get to go to?
I've been to Germany quite a few times, Austria quite a few
Yeah.
times, Switzerland, Sweden, Finland, um, quite a few places. All Europe based though, not outside of Europe, but they're not like maybe when you're older, they might be destinations you might think about going for a long weekend or something. But I would never choose to go on holiday to Germany, for example,
Nah, nah,
or
nah.
you know what I mean. But going to Austria though was like eye opening for me because obviously loads of people smoke and stuff, but the place was so clean. Like you'd never
It's mad,
see
isn't it?
cigarettes. Yeah, you wouldn't see cigarettes on the floor. You wouldn't see like chewing gum on the floor, like
Yeah.
stuck or nothing. Like, and that like opened my eyes. And I've always said to like everyone, like it's the cleanest country I've ever been to.
No,
Like,
for sure.
but then so like things like that was good. And obviously those tours, like you'd have different age groups going to the same place.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
obviously your age group could be there, and I'm 2 years younger than you, or like then there'd be teams like 2, 3 years younger than me there as well.
yeah,
But
yeah.
we'd all start to like mix and be together, and it'd be like you get to know more players and stuff like that. And even, do you remember when in training there was like a year or two when they did it where players in each position for different age groups would all have like half an hour, 45-minute session just with players in the same position. Do you remember that?
Yeah, 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 yeah. They would do they would like put it in like defenders,
Yeah,
certain stuff and do exercise.
midfielders, like attacking midfielders, strikers, and that.
Yeah.
So, so that I would get to train with, like as a kid. Then I was training with Arel, Taram,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
Paulie Woodrow,
Joke, man.
and it was like especially Taram and Cordy, like back then they was like different. They was different kind of players, bro. So like it would be like I was just watching them and thinking like, especially Taram then, like the skills he was doing, I was like, I can't do any of this. Like, what is that? Do you know what I
That
mean?
was mad, yeah.
And obviously Corley then was having a big buzz because he was like 15, 16, playing in the FA Youth Cup and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like being able to train with them is good. Like I don't know if other clubs even do that sort of stuff, but that was good,
Yeah.
especially for younger players, like to see like what it's like for the standard, like
For
when you
sure.
get older, like that.
I'm not gonna lie, during that time is when sorry to cut you off. When I started knowing like Jay and Jamal and like Arthur
Yeah,
and stuff, because they would train with like the centre mids. But I remember them
yeah,
days I just used to watch remember Michael Caine?
yeah.
He was a joke them days, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he was good, bro.
I wonder where
Like
he's at right now.
I know, but obviously he went to Leicester when he left, and
Yeah.
like there was so many players, and especially like, at that time it seemed like there was just so much talent at Luton. Like obviously, and Jamal McKenzie was there at the time as
Yeah.
well. Like there was and Zayn, like there was just so many players, so much talent at the time. It was just, I think it was just like the perfect time to do that sort of like integration. Whereas like I don't know now what how big the gap is with the
Yeah.
back then there was just so many good players in all age groups. You could mix them together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you know what I was actually thinking about it the other day. I was thinking we had so much talent from I know at least from your age group up to like Cordy and that because they were 1 year older than me. I was thinking, bro, we had immense talent, like
Yeah,
legit.
yeah. There was so many good players, and obviously there's been loads of professionals. Like especially if you compare to other clubs, the amount of professionals that have like come from Luton. There's been so many.
Yeah.
Obviously, then there's plenty who should have that weren't
Yeah.
or didn't get the careers they should have. But yeah, obviously also coming through Luton, like, I've like some of my closest friends now are all I played in the academy with. I'd like even when they left, I was even close with them when they left and when they were there probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good experience for me coming through at Luton. Like the coaching was good. Like the players that were there were all good, and obviously we got introduced to so many new cultures. Obviously one of my best memories in the academy would have been when we won the tournament in Switzerland, the Arrow Masters, when we was like 11, 12. Like obviously the teams there at the time was like there was massive teams in there, so it was like ridiculous that we even won that, to be honest.
Yeah,
But
talk me through a bit of that. How did like in terms of like because obviously we play each other in England and we know about Arsenal's, Tottenham and whatnot, but how did it like change your perspective on football in a worldly way? Because now you're playing against teams like Bayern Munich and whatnot, and they're youngsters. So like,
yeah,
how was that experience?
yeah, it was definitely so when we went there, the tournament was we were there for about 10 days at least, I think. And when we got to Switzerland and we did like a mini tournament before the main tournament, which was like not at the venue. So the venue we played at was like mad. It was like it held like 4,000 or 5,000 people in this indoor arena.
Yeah.
But like we did a mini tournament before at a different venue. It was kind of like just like a little sports gym. But like most of the teams that were playing in the tournament did this like warm up tournament with us. Yeah. So CSKA Moscow were there, and there was other teams. Maybe Grasshoppers Zurich might have been there.
Yeah.
I'm not. There's a few others in this mini one, and bro, CSKA Moscow. Like when I tell you, they pumped us. Yeah, like even teams we didn't know. So there was like other teams from like Switzerland. Might have been a few more Russian teams and other teams like that from Europe. And literally, we were horrendous. We got battered, and we were all like, I remember like after that, we were all like, this isn't even the real thing. Like, and most of these teams we don't even know, and it's like there was like I think there might have even been a couple local teams from Switzerland in there, and we were just getting like battered. And CSKA Moscow, I remember, looks unbelievable in this tournament, and we were all like, this isn't going to be good, because then we go into the main tournament and you got Man United there, Ivory Coast national team, New Zealand national team, Grasshoppers Zurich. I mean, new CSKA Moscow were there as well. And we were like, oh my gosh. And like to us then, obviously, especially being young, like CSKA Moscow is like, it's a big team, but like when you know the other teams that are in there, it's like, this is going to be tough, because that's probably not even the best team that's going to be there, and they've just worked us. So then we go to the tournament and they're in our group, CSKA Moscow, and it's like, oh no. This is just like not what we need, man. And like the whole tournament was like televised, like online. So everyone, so like parents and everyone who was back home, Luton fans, there's probably a few, would like be able to watch our games online.
Yeah.
But then obviously we started we did play the tournament, and then like we did quite well. Like we started doing quite well, and it was just like, okay, like we got through the groups now.
Yeah.
Bayern Munich was in our group as well, I think, at the time. And then we got through, and then we started getting closer and closer. And then but at the same time, the first team were playing like the JPT. So they were, I can't remember who they played. They were playing someone, I think it might have been Brighton or someone in like the semis or quarters. And we watched it in Switzerland, and then they got through. We knew they'd got through to the final of
Johnson's Paint Trophy,
Johnson's Paint Trophy. So like we were all like buzzing watching that and stuff, and then then we were getting closer and closer to the final. It was like we're not far now, like we could do this. And like we dodged teams like United and Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
But then we played Grasshoppers Zurich, and they were really good. They were probably better than us, but we managed to win the game. And then we was in the final against Bayern Munich, and then it was pretty tight. We were losing, and then Jay obviously come on, done a madness. Him and Cole done a madness. Like obviously won us the game, and then that was just like the best feeling. Like, it was just unbelievable, especially at that age and stuff. And the teams that were in it and stuff is good. And then we came back, and then when obviously Luton were in the final of the JPT, and then we got to go on the pitch at Wembley at half time.
Yeah.
We got around with our trophy, and even like the Scunthorpe fans were like clapping us and that, which was nice of them. Like they didn't have to do that. Obviously, you know what football can be like. They definitely didn't have to do that. And obviously the Luton fans filled out our sides of the stadium, and they did the same. And that was good. And then we ended up, once they won the JPT, they ended up letting us go with them on the bus around Luton.
I swear?
Yeah. We went on the open top bus with them. Like, we were just around all the players. Mick Harford was the manager. He let us do it and stuff. And that was, like, obviously amazing for us to be around the first team at the time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's like one of my highlights for, like, especially tours and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For me.
That's mad, because I remember the tours. Like I went on a couple of the same ones as you, Germany, Austria, Finland. I got to go to Sweden a couple of times. But that's when I really realized that football is a madness, because like we think so much about just the people in England.
I know.
But the other guys in other countries, and
it just makes you think that just how many people are trying to have the same goal as you to be a professional football player, and that's worldwide. And like those European players, especially technically in those indoor tournaments, that opens your eyes, bro.
Yeah. I got spun a couple of times. I still remember to this day.
Yeah, that's when you're like, I'm nowhere near that right now. Like I'm way off what they are like at my age. Do you know what I mean?
No, for sure.